Hello and welcome along once again to an episode of Cynology 101, which is my YouTube channel, which covers all the kind of topics revolving around dog psychology, dog behaviour, and some of the aspects of my job as a dog behaviourist. So, as I say, welcome along. My name's Glenn Stanford, and tonight we're going to be talking about manners, dog manners, and definitely dog manners before education. I'm sorry that it's been so long since the last episode. I've been working on a project that I will tell you about shortly. But for now, as I say, this episode in particular is regarding a conversation that I have with a lot of my customers. They come to me with problems. They always tell me what the good aspects of their dog is and how bright and smart it is and how fast it learns and how as a puppy it done so much dog training and puppy training, and it did really well in the classes, and now here we are a little bit later on, a few months later, maybe a year later, and the dog's showing a few problems that the owner wants to address. And as I say, the funny thing is that the two are not related. Dog manners and dog behaviour and dog training, different things really, because as I say, a dog can be really smart. It can learn a trick in 2 minutes for a biscuit. And as I say to the dog owners, it really doesn't matter to me if your dog is smart enough to play the piano. What does matter is that dogs understand the rules and boundaries at home, that they are sociable and they know the rules and boundaries out in the big wide world on the street, and they do respect you as the dog owner, as the leader of the pack, and that they take notice of your demands and your commands, and they do that with a certain amount of compliancy. They have to listen and kind of do as they're told, if you know what I mean, and that's all down to manners. And if you think about it, one of the things we do with children from the moment they're a baby is obviously as a very young baby, we're protecting, we're providing, we're basically just looking after their essential needs, like they're going to have, you know, food and shelter, and we keep them clean and make sure they're okay. But as they grow a little bit older, especially when they get to about a year old, they're just beginning to walk around a little bit and they're learning to speak, and they're in the high chair eating their dinner, and it comes naturally to us to teach them the manners of please and thank you. These are the first things that we start introducing. It doesn't matter to us whether our child at 1 year old is going to grow up to be a rocket scientist or a ballet dancer or even a dog trainer. But what does matter is that at their age, at that particular stage of their growth, they are learning the pleases and the thank yous. They understand that they are in a group, i.e. whether it's just you on your own or whether a family involving the humans and the animals and whatever else might be part of the pack. But it's important that they know they are part of a group, and it's important that they know that you are looking after them, protecting them, providing for them. And as I say, as they start to evolve, then the first thing they learn is the please, the thank yous, the manners. It will come as time moves on that they have to learn the routines, and they have to learn, this is children I'm talking about, but it's similar with dogs. They have to learn the routines, they have to learn the do's and don'ts, they have to learn what do we do at dinner time, what do we do at bedtime. It's all part of the routine of learning, and as a responsible parent, that is your responsibility to teach the child as it grows, as it's ready to learn. And it's kind of the same thing with dogs. As a puppy, they're pretty innocent. They're a little sponge. They're fun to be with. We feed them, we look after them, we play with them. They're cuddly, they're beautiful, they're fun to be with. And then before you know it, they're 6 months old and they're a different dog in so much as they've evolved. They're not a puppy really anymore. They're moving into adolescence. And the lessons they need to learn at that point are different from the games and the playing that you might have done when they were 12 weeks old. Now they're getting older. They still can play the games. They can still have activities that you share. They can still be fun to be with and you can mess around. But it is important that you also involve or include the fact that there are going to be certain rules and boundaries, the same as the child. With the evolvement, it might be that, and don't get me wrong, everybody's rules can be different. Some people allow their dogs in the bedroom, some don't. Some people allow the dog on the settee or sofa, some don't. Some people allow the dog to lay there by the table while they eat their dinner, some do, some don't. that is house rules. That's down to you guys. But whatever the house rules are for you, it's important that you teach the dog what it's supposed to do in that particular situation. So a basic one might be that you're having your dinner, you don't want the dog around. You send the dog away, the dog goes and lays in its bed or just lays in somewhere else watching TV or whatever. If you've decided that that's not part of the pack activity because that's what suits you, then you have to teach the dog, you have to show the dog, explain to the dog, get the dog to understand that that's what you want. And that's all part of the manners. That's nothing to do with tricks. That's nothing to do with sit, stay, high five, roll over. That's training that you give to a dog that's got kind of like new stuff to learn. Now, learning the manners is new, but manners is there all the time. Manners has got to be understood that it never goes away. I don't care if a dog can high five, but it does matter to me if I say, look, I want to eat my dinner in peace, go away, that the dog understands that. And that evolves into more complicated things. Like when people come around your house, you need to take care and manage the situation. More manners. Is it the dog's allowed to approach the people, or does the dog have to wait? Are you going to sit people down and then call the dog over? Or has the dog got no manners? It just leaps on people, it jumps all over them. As I say, this is not the end of the world if the dog breaks these particular rules. But if you want your life to unfold in a more manageable way with less problems, then manners before education. And like I say, manners is about life skills. Manners is about your dog being sociable with other dogs, being able to play with other dogs without getting kind of in trouble, be able to be approached and petted without a problem. This is your dog understanding each situation as it comes along. This is not about little moments in time where the dog sits, stays and high fives. They are just little 10-second tricks. So as long as you can understand where I'm coming from as far as the difference, and I'm sure you can understand that in relation to your kids, i.e. you do want your kids to say please and thank you. You do want your kids to be sociable. You do want your kids to understand at mealtime there's a certain ritual, a certain routine. In the morning when we get up, there's a certain routine. When we go to school, when the kids go to school, there's a certain routine. When the kids are at school, there's a certain routine. When dinner's on the table, there's a certain routine. When it's bedtime, there's a certain routine. All these routines are managed by the parents, by the grown-ups, by the protectors, by the directors, the ones that actually explain it and show it and teach it and make sure that it does get learned. Because like kids, dogs are going to push the boundaries. They're going to take whatever is available. If they're allowed to sit there and stare at you while you're eating a sandwich, they will do it. Why not? They've got nothing to lose. They might get a free little sample of cheese sandwich along the way. But it's always easy to relax those boundaries. If you want the dog there while you're eating your sandwich and you want to share your sandwich, that's fine. But if the dog already understands that if I tell you I want space, I want a little bit of private time, I don't want you staring at me and dribbling while I'm eating my dinner or my sandwich or my crisps. If the dog understands that, has been taught that, then it's easy to invoke it when you need it. That's the point. I don't have any problems with dogs that are doing their own thing, but once in a while during the day, whether it be I'm answering the front door or whether I'm putting my dinner on the table or I'd like to sit on the sofa and watch some TV unmolested by dogs jumping all over me, then I have to kind of remind them that them boundaries were set at one point or another, and I can call on that whenever I wish. If I want to relax it and have the dogs laying all over me while I'm watching TV, fine, no harm done. But it needs to be established in the earlier stages as possible. As soon as it goes from puppy training into more adolescent training, then the manners come in. And that doesn't mean your dog can't learn skills. That doesn't mean that it's one or the other. It can have both. If you want to teach your dog to have a certain skill, whether it be a working dog, whether it be just a kind of dog that's there to enhance somebody's life in some way, whether it's there just as a companion or whatever it is. All these skills that you can teach it, like a seeing eye dog, you know? There's no reason why a seeing eye dog shouldn't have manners and skills. There's no reason why a gun dog shouldn't have manners and skills. It doesn't have to be one or the other. So I'm not saying that training is the lesser alternative. There's nothing wrong with training, but manners before education. That's all I really wanted to say, because the customers that I speak to come to me with kind of problems that are causing them a little bit of distress, and 9 times out of 10 I can say quite honestly, your dog's got no manners. Unfortunately, we've got to reinstill, or we've got to remind, or we've got to actually teach brand new manners, because your dog thinks it's okay to just drag you out the front door, straight down the road, barking at everything on the way, get to the park, go crazy, harass other people, harass other dogs. Yeah, that's not about, it needs training. It needs manners and training. It needs to understand that the rules, like with children, begin at home. That's where the rules begin. And if you haven't covered that, if you haven't brought that into play at the right time when the dog's ready to learn, then taking a 1-year-old dog out the front door with none of that manners training is really just walking headfirst into problems. So yeah, your dog might be as smart as a button. Your dog might be as bright and as kind of clued up and switched on as any other dog, if not more so. But using that brain, using that alertness, using that intelligence in the wrong direction is where it kind of goes wrong. So as long as I've kind of made that clear, that's all I wanted to cover today. The conversation I have with a lot of dog owners, which is, let's get some manners organised. Let's get your dog listening and understanding. Let's get your dog going with the flow, and you know, you're not going to break its heart because you tell it, look, can I eat my dinner please without you sniffing around the table? I don't find it comfortable. I don't want you around. Go away. If that's your decision, if that's where you draw the line, then there's no reason why that shouldn't be employed, and the dog will just go and mind its own business for 5 or 10 minutes. And of course, at the end of the meal, if you want to scrape something rather sexy into the bowl, the dog's ready for it and is going to be up for it. So we're not saying you're going to deny the dog. We're just saying there's a time and a place. Yeah. So anyway, like I was saying right at the beginning, it's been a long time since I've done the first episode, and I do apologise, but it's for good reason. I've been working very hard on my online course. It's coming together really well. We're now getting to the point where I'm ready to kind of approach all the dog lovers, all the dog walkers, the dog groomers, everybody in the dog industry, and say, who would be interested in taking a look at this? And the first step of that is really just having a webinar that's totally free. And anyone in the dog world who loves dogs is welcome along. And I'm putting it on very shortly. It's going to be out there. There's going to be a link underneath in the description of this video. So by the time this video is up, there should be a link there for you to click on, which will go to a page which should have a video on there explaining what the webinar is about. And it should have a little form on there. Should you wish to join in, you're more than welcome to register for it. And then I can send you some information, including a Zoom link to the webinar. As I say, it won't be long now, it'll be very shortly. And you're more than welcome along. So really, that's it. I just wanted to kind of explain the manners thing and bring you up to date on what's going on with my background work, which is taking up a lot of time and effort, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be absolutely spot on for anybody who wants to understand more about dogs. In the unfortunate situation the world's in at the moment, the live events are really like practically impossible. I can't plan ahead. I can't make definite decisions to try and get people into a classroom and do what we used to do. before COVID. So now it's all got to go online, just there, so that you guys can have access to the information if it's of interest to you. Of course, if all the COVID goes away, then we can get back in the classroom. I can meet you face to face and we can have fun with dogs. But that's not the situation right now. So on that, I will say thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for being here today, just to join me for that manners education kind of thing, and have a little catch up on the online course that I'm constructing as we speak. So please, if you'd like to join in, click the link below, go to the page, watch the, I think it's about a 3 or 4 minute video on what the webinar is all about. Register for it and I'll be more than happy to send you some info, okay? So until next time, have a great year coming up soon. This is being recorded right at the end of 2021. Look forward to 2022 with maybe some health, some happiness and some success in business. That'd be great, wouldn't it? So have a good 2022. I'll see you there. Take care.